I am 91 years old, and I have watched more people age than most people have ever met. 38 years as a guidance counselor in Pittsburgh. I didn't just counsel teenagers. I watched their parents get old. I watched my colleagues retire and disappear. I watched my neighbors downsize, decline, and die. And then I watched myself. Nobody tells you what getting old is actually like. They show you the commercials, the silver-haired couple walking on the beach, holding hands, laughing at nothing. That is not what this is. I'm going to tell you what this actually is. And I'm going to tell you what to do about it while you still have time to do something. Pay attention. I'm not going to be gentle about this. I want to tell you about Vivian Marsh. We met our first year teaching me in the counseling office, her in the English department. She could recite Langston Hughes from memory, threw the best dinner parties in Allegheny County, and laughed so loud the neighbors could hear her through the walls in January. We were inseparable for 60 years. 60 years. I was maid of honor at her wedding. She held my hand when my husband Harold died. There was not a significant moment in my adult life that Vivian was not somewhere in the frame. Vivian was brilliant. She was funny. She was one of those people who made every room feel more alive just by walking into it. And Vivian absolutely refused to think about getting old. I tried. Lord knows I tried. I'd bring up things long-term care insurance, downsizing from that 4-bedroom house after her husband passed, talking to her kids about her wishes. She'd wave her hand at me. Lorraine, I am not going to spend my good years planning for my bad ones. That's what she said, word for word. I can still hear her voice. So she didn't plan. She didn't exercise consistently after 70. She didn't talk to her kids about finances. She didn't update her documents. She didn't downsize when she could have, when it would have been a choice instead of a crisis. She stayed in that big house alone and convinced herself that independence was the same thing as a plan. At 83, she had a fall. Nothing catastrophic, a fractured wrist, a bruised hip, but it was enough. Her kids flew in from 3 different states, and for the first time they saw the house. The bills piled on the counter. The prescriptions she'd been skipping because she hadn't told anyone she was on a fixed income. The stairs she'd been avoiding for 8 months. They put her in a memory care facility 18 months later. The confusion had come on faster than anyone expected, and there was no plan, no document, no conversation to fall back on. Her kids had to make every decision in the dark, terrified they were guessing wrong. I visited her there every week until she didn't know who I was anymore. I watched what happens when you don't prepare. I am not going to let that be you. So here are 8 things I wish someone had sat me down and told me at 55, not to scare me, to save me. Your body is going to change faster than you think, and ignoring it is not stoicism, it's stupidity. I was a healthy woman. I walked, I watched what I ate, I thought I was doing fine. What nobody told me was that the changes that start in your 50s are not linear, they accelerate. The muscle you lose at 60 is harder to get back at 65. The balance problems that seem minor at 68 become the reason you're on the floor at 73. I had a colleague named Berta, retired science teacher, strong as an ox her whole life. She stopped exercising consistently at 62 because her knees hurt. She told herself she'd get back to it. She did not get back to it. By 70, she needed a cane. By 75, she needed a walker. By 80, she needed people. Berta's knees did not put her in assisted living. Berta's decision at 62 put her in assisted living. Strength training, balance work. I'm not talking about running marathons. I'm talking about not falling. Start now. Do not wait until it hurts to start. By then, you're already behind. You need to have the conversation with your family. All of it. Now. What do you want if you can't speak for yourself? Do you want machines keeping you alive? Do you want to die at home? Does your family know where your will is? Does your family know there is a will? Vivian's family didn't know. They guessed. Her daughter told me at the funeral, and I will never forget this. She said, "Mama never told us what she wanted, so we guessed wrong." She has carried that for years. That guilt belongs to the silence, not to her. You are not protecting your family by not talking about this. You are loading a gun and leaving it on the table for them to deal with when you're gone or when you can't speak. Have the conversation. This week, not someday, this week. Retirement is not a vacation. It is an identity crisis, and you need a plan for it. I watch so many people retire and come completely undone within 2 years. Not because they ran out of money, because they ran out of purpose. My friend Howard retired at 64 from 30 years in city planning. Smart man, capable man. He'd been waiting for retirement his whole career. 6 months in, he called me and said, "Lorraine, I don't know what to do with myself." He started drinking more. His marriage deteriorated. He put on 40 pounds in a year. Howard had planned meticulously for the financial side of retirement. He had not planned a single thing for the psychological side. Who are you when you're not your job title? What gets you out of bed? What do you contribute? If you can't answer those questions before you retire, retirement will answer them for you, and you won't like the answers. Your friends are going to start dying, and you need to be making new ones right now. This is the one nobody wants to hear. When you are 55, your social circle feels permanent. Those are your people. You have history together. You have shorthand. You have 40 years of shared references. And then one of them gets a diagnosis, and then another, and by 75 the circle is half the size it was, and by 85 you are the last one standing at dinners you used to have to borrow chairs for. Vivian lost 5 close friends in 4 years in her late 70s, and she had not made a new meaningful friendship in 15 years. She didn't know how anymore. She had stopped putting herself in situations where new friendships could form. Loneliness at 80 is not just sad. Loneliness at 80 is physically dangerous. It accelerates cognitive decline. It worsens heart disease. It kills people. I have watched it kill people. Start making new friends now. Join something. Show up somewhere regularly. This is not optional. Number 5, downsize before you have to. Because when you have to, it's not downsizing, it's a disaster. Vivian's house was the thing that broke my heart the most. She loved that house. 4 bedrooms, garden out back, 30 years of memories in every corner. And she held on to it the way people hold on to the past, like letting go of it meant letting go of the person she used to be. When the crisis came, she didn't get to sort through things at her own pace. She didn't get to decide what went where. Her kids flew in, they had a weekend, and 30 years of her life got divided into piles. What goes to the kids? What goes to Goodwill? What goes in the trash? She wasn't there for most of it. She was already in the facility. If you are in your 60s and you are in a house that is too big for you, I am asking you to start having honest conversations with yourself about it now. Not because the house doesn't matter, because you matter more than the house. Money on a fixed income is a completely different thing, and you are probably not as prepared as you think. I am not a financial advisor. I will tell you what I observed in 38 years watching families. The people who struggled were not the people without money. They were the people who had some money and a lifestyle built for more money. They kept the big house. They kept the 2 cars. They kept helping the adult children financially past the point they could afford to. And then something happened, a health crisis, a long-term care need, and there was nothing left. Your expenses are going to shift in your 70s and 80s in ways you cannot fully predict. Healthcare costs are not theoretical. Long-term care costs are not theoretical. Sit down with someone who knows what they're doing and have an honest conversation about what your actual numbers look like. Not what you hope they look like, what they actually look like. Your children need you to be honest with them about your health, all of it. I watched parents lie to their children for years about health problems, finances, how they were managing alone. They thought they were protecting their kids. They were not protecting their kids. They were setting them up for a crisis with no warning and no preparation. Your adult children are not fragile. They can handle the truth. What they cannot handle, what damages families permanently, is finding out they were lied to. Finding out the fall wasn't the first one. Finding out the diagnosis came 6 months before they were told. Finding out the finances were in trouble for years before anyone said a word. Tell them the truth, all of it. Let them be your partners in this. That is not weakness. That is the kindest thing you can do for them. You need to know what a good death looks like and aim for it. I know that's uncomfortable. Do it anyway. I have sat with enough people in their final months to know the difference between someone who is ready and someone who is not. Not unafraid, I have never met anyone who was unafraid. Ready. There is a difference. The people who were ready had talked to their families. They had handled their affairs. They had said what needed saying. They had, as best they could, finished their business. The people who were not ready had left everything for later, and later had arrived. You do not get to choose when. You get to choose how prepared you are when it comes. I want to go back to Vivian. The last conversation I had with her where she knew who I was, and I mean really knew, not just responded to her name, but looked at me and saw me, was on a Tuesday afternoon in March. It was raining. I'd brought her the lemon shortbread cookies she'd always loved. She ate one and looked out the window for a long time. Then she turned to me and she said, "Lorraine, when did I get old?" I didn't know what to say. She said, "I wasn't paying attention. I was just living my life, and I wasn't paying attention. And now I'm here, and I don't." She stopped. looked at her hands. I don't know how I got here. I held her hands and I did not cry until I got to my car. Because it didn't have to be that way. That's the thing that has never left me. It did not have to be that way. Not the facility, not the isolation, not her kids carrying guilt they'll carry for the rest of their lives, not that conversation in the rain. All of it, every bit of it could have been different if someone had sat Vivian down at 55 and told her the truth about what was coming and what she needed to do. Nobody did. I am telling you now. Here is what 60 years of watching people age has taught me. Getting old is not optional. Every single one of us is doing it right now, in this moment, whether we are thinking about it or not. The question has never been whether you get old. The question is whether you get old well. Getting old well is not luck. It is not genetics, though genetics plays a role. It is not money, though money helps. Getting old well is a series of decisions you make starting right now. Small decisions, honest conversations, practical actions, not dramatic ones, ordinary ones. The will updated, the doctor's appointment kept, the friendship maintained. The conversation had, Vivian was not unlucky. Vivian was unprepared. And she was unprepared because she believed that thinking about the future was the same as surrendering to it. It is the opposite. Thinking about the future clearly, honestly, practically, that is how you stay in charge of it as long as humanly possible. That is the whole lesson. That is all of it. If you are in your 50s watching this, I am talking to you specifically. You are not too young for this conversation. You are exactly the right age for it. The decisions that will determine the quality of your 80s are being made right now in your 50s and 60s, whether you are making them consciously or not. So here is what I want you to do. Not someday, concretely, soon. This month, update your will. If you don't have one, get one. If you have one, look at it. Is it current? Does it reflect your life as it is now, not as it was 15 years ago? This week, have one honest conversation with someone in your family about your wishes. Not the whole conversation, just start it. What do you want? What don't you want? Who knows where your documents are? Starting now, move your body with the specific goal of keeping it functional, not thin, functional, balance, strength. These are the things that determine whether you are in your own home at 82 or in a facility. And this one is harder. Start being honest about what you're not handling well, the finances that aren't as solid as you present them, the health issue you're not mentioning to the kids, the house that is becoming too much. Honesty now is a gift to everyone, including yourself. You have time, but time is not unlimited, and it moves faster than it looks like it's moving from where you're standing. Do not wait until the fall. Do not wait until the diagnosis. Do not wait until the crisis forces the conversations that should have happened years earlier. Start now, while it's still a choice. I am 91 years old. My affairs are in order. My will is updated. My children know exactly what I want and exactly where to find everything. There's a folder in the top drawer of my desk, always has been for the last 20 years. Green folder. My kids know about the green folder. I am not unafraid of what's coming. I would be lying if I said I was unafraid, but I am ready, and there is a difference. I am not going to be Vivian. Now, I believe I'll have one of those lemon shortbread cookies. She almost smiles. You take care of yourselves.